Somewhere, the final Neanderthal looked across a world no longer theirs. They didn't know they were the last. No one did. For 400,000 years, Neanderthals ruled Europe. They survived ice ages. They survived predators. They buried their dead. Then they were gone. Or were they? Here's what most people get wrong. Neanderthals didn't vanish overnight. There was no final battle, no last stand, no extinction event you can point to on a timeline. In 2014, geneticist Svante Pääbo's team published a stunning finding. Modern humans carry Neanderthal DNA, not a trace, not a fragment. Between 1 and 4% of your genome is Neanderthal. If you're of European or Asian descent, you carry their code inside you right now. They didn't disappear, they were absorbed. Think about that for a moment. The last Neanderthal didn't die alone in a cave. The last Neanderthal had children. Those children had children. Their bloodline never ended. It just became us. But the story is more complicated than that. In 2020, researchers led by anthropologist Chris Stringer analyzed Neanderthal fossils from across Europe. They found something strange. Neanderthals didn't all look the same. Populations in Spain looked different from populations in Siberia. Some had robust brow ridges. Some had more delicate faces. They were diverse. And they were already declining before we showed up. A 2018 study published in Science by paleontologist Michael Chazan found that Neanderthal populations in Europe had dropped to dangerous levels by 40,000 years ago. Fewer than 10,000 individuals left on the entire continent. Why? Climate change pushed them south. Forests replaced open grasslands. They were ambush hunters. Grasslands were their killing ground. When the trees moved in, their world shrank. Then we arrived. Modern humans entered Europe around 45,000 years ago. We didn't bring weapons. We didn't bring armies. We brought networks. Humans traded over hundreds of miles. We shared tools. We shared information. Neanderthals didn't. Archaeologist Paul Pettit at Durham University showed in 2020 that Neanderthal toolkits barely changed in 100,000 years. Human toolkits changed every few generations. One species adapted, the other couldn't keep up. But here's where the story breaks your heart. In 2010, archaeologists found bones in Gorham's cave in Gibraltar. A Neanderthal child's skull, dated to roughly 28,000 years ago. By that point, most Neanderthals were already gone. This child was one of the last. The bones showed signs of care. Someone had tended to this child. Someone had fed them. Someone had held them. Because Neanderthals loved their children, we know this from Shanidar Cave in Iraq. In the 1950s, archaeologist Ralph Solecki found a Neanderthal skeleton with severe disabilities. No teeth, withered arm. This individual lived for decades. They couldn't have survived alone. Their group kept them alive. Neanderthals cared for the weak. They buried their dead with flowers. They felt grief. So when we imagine the last Neanderthal, don't picture a brute dying in the cold. Picture a small group, huddled in a cave, making fire, telling stories, looking out at a world filling with strangers. And slowly over generations, those strangers became family. The children married. The bloodlines merged. The distinction dissolved. Geneticist Kelso at the Max Planck Institute proved in 2016 that Neanderthal genes entered the human population in at least 3 separate waves. 3 waves of mixing. 3 moments where the boundary between them and us collapsed. There was no last day. There were thousands of last days, each one quieter than the last, each one less Neanderthal than the one before it, until there were no Neanderthals left, only people. People who carried their strength, people who carried their immunity, people who carried their grief. When you get sick and recover quickly, that's Neanderthal DNA helping your immune system fight back. When your skin handles cold weather, that's their adaptation living in your cells. They didn't go extinct. They became the part of you that survives. So the next time you look in a mirror, remember, you're not purely human. You're something older, something stronger, something that refused to die. And the last Neanderthal didn't lose. They won. They just had to become you to do it.